If you've ever wanted to become a big label or at least a regional record label that works for a lot of different artists, then you need to know why record labels are actually broke. And when I found this out, it was a little bit perplexing to me, but once I understood it, I was like, oh, this makes sense. Problem is, you gotta know how to get to the money in a certain way, and we're gonna go over that. This bigger picture may feel extremely intimidating. However, every artist should understand why the label has their positioning in this manner. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Casey Graham, and this is the Music Money Makeover Show. Question is how record labels get into debt. All record labels need the audio products created by recording artists to survive. Okay, that's the base. However, if they are smart, they will use the money of a financial provider. Base number 2. Ironically, it's the same financial provider that you're trying to get to, the bank. This is base number 3. This action immediately puts the record label in debt. Even though I gave you 3 bases, the financial provider, the bank, and the audio products, the financial provider and the bank kind of coincide together. But you need audio products, you need money. You need it if you're an artist, you need it if you're a record label. You see what I'm saying? Let's keep rolling. The assets never outweigh the liabilities. Assets including real estate, intellectual property, receivables, packaged goods, and cash will never outweigh the liabilities due to the fact that the record label rides a fine line between debt borrowed, principal and interest, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and deferred revenue that is yet to be paid out. I kind of hear a question coming from you here, but what about the catalog that's already recouped? Yeah. I get you. But that catalog, the money that, let's say, if you think about it in streaming terms, the bang already happened. People already bought those records, tapes, and CDs. So all of the other records that they own that's just sitting on Spotify, like it's mounting, but they're not making extreme amounts of money, let's say, outside of a, you know what I'm saying, like a Rush or a Stevie Wonder or a Journey or, you know what I'm saying, Earth, Wind and Fire, or, you know what I'm saying, or Kiss. Those groups right there, they're making a lot of money. Everybody else is just at the bottom of the barrel and the pennies are still trickling in. They're not making a lot of money. So the heyday has left and the catalog is just slowly mounting. But the catalog does not take care of absolutely all of the debt, even though the debt for the catalog has been canceled. You see what I'm saying? Let's keep rolling. Record labels live to increase cash flow. This is the name of the game here. All record companies want to do is increase cash flow and assets. The debt they accumulate is designed to float the business in order to receive the cash flow. The processes of the business is not floated and there's no profit on top of that debt that we're floating on, right? So it's like the profit is up here, the debt is here, and we're floating it. This is how it works now. Once that debt is paid off, then we can float on a little bit with profit. But we're going to keep infusing it with more debt, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute. Because this is how it's going to work. This is how we keep going. Check it out. How is the record label in debt? Part 1. Because the record label can borrow cash due to its track record on paper, it can get to that cash quicker and cheaper than you can. Ooh. On that debt, the label can afford the principal payment and the premium payment. This money is used carefully to fund the operations and product production. The record label got in debt because they got cheap capital. That's just what it is. There is still an interest attached to it. It's just they can get a whole lot more than you and then they can divvy it up. Let me not jump the gun. Check it out. How is the record label in debt? Part 2. It takes 90 days. Hear this now. It takes 90 days for the distributor to pay the label. This is accounts receivable. The label has to pay the debt every month. This is an ongoing thing. The record label has to have the cash flow to cover operations. That's all the workers. Pull profits, because they got to pull the profits off, for research and development, and pay their artist royalties, amongst other things that should not be done with borrowed capital. That's the accounts payable. All right, you got to pay all this stuff with profit unless you're floating your labor as well. Now, in order to not go broke or go bankrupt, the label defers the artist payments 3 months, which means the artist gets paid every 6 months or semi-annually. If the record label drops in profits unexpectedly, then the label has to borrow more money or defer more payments. And then, of course, they're making money on the interest when they're deferring the payments for the first 3 months. They get 90 days worth of interest collected. Okay, not bad. But if I'm the record label, this is not bad. But you know, for the artist, you starting to see the bigger picture here. Let's keep rolling. How is the record label in debt? Part 3. Record labels allot capital to the artist's accounts in business affairs, okay? Whether spent or not, they know how much money was allotted. Many artists never recoup, and this includes the label share as well. This is called a loss. Now, record labels really do lose sometimes. Now, the labels are playing a roulette game to see which artists will hit and take care of the losses from the other artists that missed. If they don't hit in time, then the game is over and they default, or they won't be allowed to borrow more capital at a low interest rate. There you have it. This is how this works. I'm really giving you the game here. Let me hit you with a bonus. Record label secrets. Record labels know how many artists they can sign based on how much capital they have on deck for the next 12 months every June. Why every June? Because earnings for the prior year were reported in April. So they already know, hey man, we made all this money. This is the profits. We got everything on our 10K. Check it out. We're coming to get another 100 million. How can you do it for us? Yeah, we can give you that 100 million. We need to give you, you can give us, a 4% interest on the loan. Cool, sounds good. Blick, right? Done. Another 100 million in. Now the record label has funding. They're going to allot it. They already know by June how many people they can sign and what business they can do based on the amount of debt they just took on or fresh debt. If they got debt left over, great. You know what I mean? They didn't use it all. So we still got more debt to work with. And that's how that works. Here's why you sign anyway. Record labels are the only bank in town that will allow you to walk in the front door and get a loan based on human collateral or intellectual property without having a prior record of cash flow or business. That really shouldn't have said collateral. I probably should have said human labor, but that's why you sign. Because, hey man, I got a product. I can't personally guarantee this sucker will work, but I can tell you that based on how it sounds, you should give it a chance. I know you got some money at a cheap interest rate, so help a brother out. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it works. You can't go to a bank without any cash flow and say, I need money. Now, once you have the cash flow, then you can make that move. You can make that move when that happens. And I mentioned this on an episode a long time ago. It was Russ. Russ was on a Breakfast Club and he mentioned this technique. It can happen, but I'm going to talk about it in a minute. Okay, now this is you. See, this is why I want to be my own label, baby. Remember, you're in the same position. It's just you can't get cheap capital. They can. That's the difference. This is why at a certain point, indie artists either bow out or they level up to a label, or they stay indie and they learn how to get the capital themselves. Okay, it's just what it is. And it's business. At this point, the creativity has left the building. We got to get cheap money. I don't care about what you're talking about over here about this creative stuff, man. But if we need to keep this creative stuff going, we need cheap money, baby. And it's not going to go any other way. So you got to have your ducks in a row. For my viewers, you probably know where this is going. So do record labels ever profit? Independently, yes. Majors, hardly. They have to keep borrowing more money to keep the cash flow going so long as they can afford the premiums on the debt. This doesn't mean that they aren't getting rich. I'm not saying that record labels aren't getting rich. They're using the debt. That debt and the interest of the debt allows them to run at a loss, but they can scrape the profit off, pay everybody, take bonuses if they're going to take bonuses at the end of the year, and pay high salaries. And the label just keeps running and they keep stacking up catalogs. You see what I'm saying? This is how it's really working. This is how it's really working. So what's the goal? Get to the money cheaper and faster than the label. This is not easy and this takes strategy. Everybody will not make it, which is why if you're an artist, a producer, a singer, a songwriter, or a new music business exec who wants to get started in this game in 60 days or less without looking all over the internet through the red tape for the how-tos and all the misinformation and actually set up this sucker the right way, I created something called a 60-day record label course designed to help you get this sucker set up in 60 days so we can get to this money at a certain point. I'm not going to tell you where it is because you got to give me a call. But we will build a strong company foundation with an LLC to help you survive and thrive through this industry for as long as you can stand it. And then from there, you'll learn how to play the game via contract so you ain't getting lost in the sauce out here, because I don't want that to happen with you. All right. And then after that, you'll be able to collect your international and domestic record and publishing royalties without the middleman taking 15% from you. How cool is that? Everything you see in the bottom right-hand corner is included within this course, plus much, 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 much more. But if this is your first time watching the channel, please grab the free stuff below, how to increase your record label profits, or 10 ways to increase your record label's profits. A free split sheet is included with the download. Let's talk about your upside right here. Getting to the money before you need the label allows you to have way more freedom in your career. That's the goal. Get to the money before you need the label. Learn how to do it. Learn how to run the business. That's the upside. You got to call me on that one. If you sign to the label, here come the restrictions. I'm not saying it's not going to be good if you sign to the label, but you're going to have some restrictions at play here. That if you were independent for this long up to this point, you know what I'm saying? So if you were wondering how you would become a big label and stay lean so you can stay in the green or get the green, or rather stay in the black, proper term, now you got a little bit more of an idea of how this game truly works on the inside and on the business side. Music Money Makers, if you make music, you should always make money. Log on to musicmoneymakeover.com, jump into the 60-day record label course, book a call if you want to go deeper on this one right here. All right, download the free stuff below. Hit the like button at the bottom of this video, and I will see you next time. Peace.